Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Focus on Liberia on the Marketplace, where we talk everything business, finance, and economics. Today we have a very special show. We're pivoting away from the our normal routine to talk about doing business in Liberia. And our guest today is no other than Dominic Nimley. I think Nimley, we had you here back in, I think, somewhere in January. We had a great discussion. So it's an honor having you back here again. This time is going to be a little bit of caveat to the discussion, which is the impact of this whole inflation on businesses. I know we're talking about doing business in Liberia, but we want to look at it from the context of the impact on businesses, which I think you're uh, the chairman of Patel, which is a business organization that represents a lot of businesses in Liberia. So again, uh, welcome to the show, and it's great having you here. We hope to have a great interactive discussion. Before we get started, please, wherever you are, if you're just joining us, please take a moment, share the podcast, join us. I know most of you will have a lot of questions for Nimland and ourselves as well. Um, Again, actually, Paul, welcome as well. I know you joined us last week, so again, thank you for being with us here. Again, my name is Gabriel. My co-host is Alex Cuffy. Alex, please introduce yourself, and I will give the our guest the time to introduce themselves.
Yeah, thank you. Once again, Alex Cuffy, managing consultant for Allen Bernard International, that is bringing this show to you in partnership with Focus on Liberia. We're hoping to have a great show today on the topic that Gabriel talked about. The broader topic of doing business in Liberia and as a line to this whole inflation and exchange rate, and then the corresponding prices of goods and services in the Republic of Liberia. So we'll be looking at things like registering a business. We'll be looking
Yep.
at the general business climate, the environment of doing business in Liberia. We'll be looking at export and import, whether people are exporting out of Liberia and the whole import stuff. And then we'll be also looking at the factors that are impacting the prices of commodities on the market. So we'll be on it today. If we don't complete today, we'll continue this
Next week.
this
Yep.
next Saturday.
Yep.
So again, welcome, and please share the show, as Gabriel said. Share the show, and so that we'll try to make this interactive. We'll try to incorporate the comments and the questions of the people that are looking at this show from the comment line. So we'll make it interactive. We're getting involved.
Yeah. So, Nimland, Dominic, I know. How do you like to be called, Nimland or Dominic? Which your
Nimley, you know.
Dominic? Okay, Dominic. Again, as I said earlier, welcome to the show. I know we had you here last, actually earlier this year. We talked a lot about doing business in Liberia. So it's a pleasure talking with you again. I think it's always an honor to speak with people that are doing business in Liberia to really get the reality of what is taking place in Liberia on the ground at the moment, and how everything is affecting people, how to do business. There's a series of questions we have, and I'm sure you're well prepared to answer them. But again, thank you for taking the time to join us. For those of you who don't know you, please, would you mind introducing yourself for our guests, please?
Okay, my name is Dominic, patriotic citizen of Liberia, a true son of the source, who by trap,
Yeah.
and from Pinknesses.
Yeah.
And I'm into automobile and other businesses. I'm the national chairman of the Patriotic Entrepreneur of Liberia, Patel.
Okay.
I'm the chair on trade and commerce for Liberian-owned businesses, LIBA, and I'm the president of the Liberian Used Car Dealership Association as well.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, thank you. That's a lot of hat to wear, my man. That's it. You must be a
And
busy.
guess what? I'm not being paid for either one of them.
Oh, that's great. Well,
Yeah,
great.
but But quick to that, because they had you wearing the too many, like three strong hat, Patel, Liba, and then the Used Car Dealer Association and all that. So let me whet your appetite a little bit. The last I remember about Liba was during the reign when Governor Mills was governor of the central bank, and his involvement with Liberia Business Association when the now, correct me if I'm wrong, the non-foreign minister was President Kimaya. The Liberia Business Association was seen in a light in different ways, right? With the loan program and the issue of being political and all that stuff. Why is the Liberian, my big brother, Sam Michel, and all these people were involved. Where is the Liberia Business Association today?
Well, the Liberian Business Association right now, I wasn't part of the Liberian Business Association back then, but the Liberian Business Association right now, it's trying their best, and I have some good news. I even got in contact just 4 days ago from Turkey, Europe, and we've been doing a lot of things when this government came into power. I was brought on board by the new president of LIBAT, which is James Strutter,
Okay.
and we've been trying our best. The first work this new LIBAT president did was Semenco was buying in Liberia. The foreigner do wholesale, retail, and supply, which of course it don't happen anywhere in the world. We got white men, black men, and Liberian men. We're just different. So the first work we did, we went to Semenco, which of course is owned by France, a French national. We met with the general manager or the CEO, and we told him, because we had complaints coming to us like they had a union, and we told him, Mr. CEO, you cannot be doing wholesale and retail and supply at the same time. You have to leave something for the Liberian people. That was our first job that we did on Liba, on the new Liba president. The second one, Firestone as well. Firestone been here for hundreds of years, and they take our rubber, take it to Senegal and manufacture that and send it around the world. We only have the used tires coming to us, waiting on the Firestone. And these are politics we've been speaking of, things that we've been speaking about. So we went to Firestone as well. Firestone was doing the same thing and told Firestone, hey, you need to stop. You cannot be doing going to the farms directly, collecting the rubber from there. There's a union, and this union have people working within this union, and they have families. You have to stop. And we stopped that as well.
So basically, the Liba is making some inroads.
Yes. And then we didn't get stopped there. It was the first of a kind for Liberian to be going on trade fair on this new Liba president, which of course the first trip was in China, and we have people now sending honey, cassava, even the coconut shell that we thrown away. The Chinese buying it as well. And on the same Liba president, we made a trip to America, which of course now people taking.
When you say the Chinese are buying it, are you exporting it? Are you exporting
we exporting
it?
Yes.
Okay.
We have partnership now. Yes.
So you're also involved with Patel, and the last I checked, Patel was very active during the Ellen government, and at one moment you even shut the economy down. So, advocating for rights of businesses and things like that. What is happening with Patel today?
Oh, Patel is more than active. Okay, I think you heard about the new the change in BVA to Medtech. I think you heard about it. And this Medtech is owned by the same owner of BVA, like 01 in New Battle. So we did our due diligence and came up with the analysis, getting to know that Medtech is owned by the same owner of BVA, and they're switching it. And it was hired by LRA, him and someone and his boss, Tomo Nando. And as usual,
someone or the other someone?
The one from the custom commissioner from the Manasadi region up to present, he stayed there. Maybe he know the job than any other person.
When you say Henry Samoa, he's the president of LB.
Okay, then I think I will call him someone. The specialist. They call him, make me a special.
Yeah,
the one the custom commissioner.
He's not Henry Samoa.
Yeah, the
Henry
custom
Samoa
commissioner.
is the president of IB Bank.
IB Bank, yeah.
Yeah, so
Samoa, his little brother. Brother.
Okay.
Yeah. So they hired this new company. And they didn't just hire it. They violated our right back before bringing any new thing into the country or into a system. You call a stakeholder meeting where we have to disagree and agree. But we, as Liberian-owned businesses, they don't respect us, and we are the end user. We are the consumer. We do all, but they don't
Right.
respect our area economy. The little businessman is the backbone of that economy in Liberia. They don't have one regard for us.
You're
So when he
absolutely
did
right.
it, when he sent his caveats out, saying that the company will start effect like since was it October. So when I got the information before then, journalists have already sent me informations and told me that hey, SYZ coming up. So we're just on the standby. We're waiting for them. We had option A to option D. We had plan A to plan D. So right in that man, he made a press statement, and we went there. I would call a press statement as well, and we bought every word that he said, and I told him that we're going to shut down the economy immediately if they don't suspend it. And he knows the power we have. We have the people power. We have the
let's shut
people
the
power.
economy down.
So he went to where right away and called another press conference and said that he sent a letter to us that he wanted an emergency meeting, and he suspended it until January 2022. So in the suspension, when we went there for the meeting,
So who is currently doing that work that Beaver used to be doing?
now they suspended. As I speak to you right now,
Mhm.
they already formed land in Freeport. They're building, according to them, they're building scanner,
According to them, who?
according to the LRA, because they are the one that
Okay.
hired this new company called
Okay.
Medtech. And this Medtech is owned by the same owner of Viva. So, like I said, Medtech is a pharmaceutical company. It's owned by the same man that own Viva.
Wow.
Yes.
So
Oh,
let
one
me
in
let me let me let me ask you another question. I mean, just the last question, as just to whet your appetite. In his inaugural address, we have said that Liberians will not be spectators in the economy. Where are Liberian businesses with respect to that statement? Are they witnesses in, or are they partakers in the economy? 4 years later,
well,
almost 4 years later.
we are trying our best, but we are still spectators. I'm going to say that. We are
Yeah.
still spectators. We are spectators. And I'm going to bring some secret out here that you're going to laugh on.
Yeah,
So
go ahead. Go ahead.
when we spoke about he called us for that meeting. We had a meeting at the Ministry of Commerce. To our ultimate surprise, Commerce Ministry that even wasn't in the know of this new company.
Interesting.
Yes. So we had a meeting at the Ministry of Commerce, and Commerce Minister and others came to
You mean the current minister or the
Commerce
previous?
Minister, the LRA, Liberian Business Association, Patel, the Fuller Business Association, Chamber of Commerce. We all was there.
Not
We were
Western
all
Capital, but
seated.
the current
The
commerce minister.
current Commerce Minister,
Okay.
Manuel Dees.
Okay.
So LRA boss came up, Tomonando, and extended apologies that it was an oversight. He's so sorry. He's suspending it, and we should have a working committee, which of course will open a chat room and a set chat. And whenever we ask this minister or CG, which of course we call him, he was always give one excuse after another, saying that, oh my people, we just found a land where the people going to do the scanning and what have you, and etc. and etc. And time is running out. So we
Yeah.
placed in the chat room a month ago, saying that you keep playing your jingle that starting from January, we'll start to pay that huge charges that come with your new meta company. And we're going to we will refuse doing that. So if
Yeah.
you know what good for everyone of us, we should come to the round table and address these issues. When we left for
I think
Europe
somebody having the
a
program
week
on in
ago,
the background.
they placed in the chat room that they were calling for a meeting. And we placed in the chat room that we are not in town. The president of the Liberian Business Association is not in town. The president of Patel is not in town, so they have to wait. So now that we are back, waiting to hear what they have to say. If he
So
didn't say nothing,
what do you, if I may interject it, what do you as the head of this organization plan to get out of that meeting? What do you want to accomplish? If you go to that table, you go to that meeting, what would you like to accomplish for the Liberian people and the Liberian businesses? What are
a
your
suitable
what are your deliverables that you want from them? that the people have
Thank you.
told you, hey, when you go to the table, this is what we want.
And this is not just about Liberian business. It's about
Right.
every business person in Liberia, foreigner and whatever, and etc. and all. So
Right.
what we want in this, because the custom commissioner told us that
Yeah, that's
Liberia is
his
the
name
only
is the guy you're talking about. His name is Samoa.
Star Samoan. Star
Yes.
Samoan and his boss, Tomon and those told us that it is only in Liberia that you see a groupage container. When we go to China and to the US and other countries, we see one Nigerian or one Guinean doing 40 feet container, probably 10 or 15 or 20 pieces at one. But in Liberia, you find from 25 person to 65 human being on 140 feet container. We call that groupage container. So
Yeah.
Beaver in China, well, most of our people take the high bank loan, high interest rate, short payment term. I call it death trap loan. They go on that groupage container to China. When they reach there, Beaver refuse to work on those containers. They say it's a waste of time because you have 25 to 65 persons.
Yeah.
You don't want to go through those bureaucracies. And when they refuse, why it is not the concerning fault. When the container reach to Liberia, the Liberian government, custom going to fund those concerning on the container for not doing Beaver. Why it is not the fault. So when they spoke of bringing this the method that they're going to be doing scanning, we embrace the idea, but not
Right.
at the detriment of the Liberian people or of the
Absolutely.
business people. Because any press you put on this stuff in my hand, it's going to be out on the end user. They're going
Yep.
to feel the pain.
Yep.
So they're coming to tell us before that whole container, the inspection is going to go for $160. But now in the new company, they bring it they're going to check by per person. Each person, you got 65 person on one container, you're talking about 10,000 plus. You're charging $160 just for inspection for each person.
Yeah.
We said
Yeah.
no.
Dominic, I think you have the program playing on the Facebook, so it's giving feedback. Yeah,
Hold on.
either you silence it or you.
Just bring the volume to zero.
Okay,
Yeah,
is it okay now?
Yes.
yeah.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay, so we told them no. That is one of our points. Second point, we have the rice and tin that coming in. He added another fees on every one of those items that we importing. We said no, we already crying. Number one, during Manasadi region, she signed a new custom clearing system called GATT, but they refused to enact it into law 2016 when Manasadi signed it. I called Ofida Tama, but then she was the LRA boss. I called her to our office and questioned her, and she refused. We're still using in Liberia the process definition since 1952. That will make our custom clearing system is higher in the region than any other person, any other country. We're still using the process definition. When we went to LRA, question them why it said that you signed a new custom clearing system and you're not enacted into law. They said that we should go to the legislator as business people to have them to enact into law. I told them no. We business people every second come for, we're not going to do that. If you can come and impose on us, if you sign for something, you should go and make sure that it's implemented and it is working. Up to
So
present, we are still.
Dominic, one of the things that I was involved with a project under the auspices of the World Bank, the International Finance Corporation of the World Bank, about doing business in Liberia. So the whole process was about reducing the cost of doing business, access to financing, and things like that. And I know it has achieved some goals during that period, but I don't know where it is now. So, what what is the whole business registration process? Registering a business, the time, the cost, and what are some of the challenges?
There is a lot of challenges. At the last meeting, stakeholder meeting, we had economy forum we had in Ganta for 3 days. The government said a lot of good things, which of course that haven't come through up to today's date. And I want to say this on this platform: it's an OH issue. Government after government, they always come that way. It's not just the administration.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
saw it from Manasadi regime, and it's still going on. They told us that we're going to have, because we told them about the bureaucracies. You go to Commerce Ministry, from there you go to the other ministry, from there you go to Liberian Business Registry. It's fatigue people. And they said they were going to get a one-stop shopping center, one window that you can
To
do
register
all.
your business, right?
Liberian Business Registration came up and said a lot of things that you don't have printer, you don't have this, which of course I have witnessed those things. It is 100% affirmative that he said. Up to present, my brother, we still have those bureaucracies. As I speak,
Yeah,
we will hear the
they
sweet things,
had
government after government, but the implementation part of it is the problem.
yeah, because I know one time even registering a business took, I mean, more than 2 weeks. But then it was reduced to 7 days. Then it was reduced to 3 days. Then at a point you could even do it in a day. With the one-stop shop thing, with the banking system, of course, government revenue had to be
So what
collected.
happened to that?
So there's a banking window. You go there, you fill out the form, then you go to the bank, you pay the money, you bring it back. So it could happen within a day, right? But maximum 3 days. Where is it now? Because I have an experience recently. So, but you are on the ground, I'm not on the ground. So where is it now?
The process is very slow. The process is not 3 days, in more than 3 days.
Mhm.
Even going for renewal, it takes time. I don't know what really going on in there. I haven't had a chance to talk to the boss, but I think I'm going to meet him this week because we sort of be going to Dubai 2023 fair again. And like we have to transfer ourselves and what have you to go on that trip. What we're going to promote our country. And most of the trip that we've been going on, 99.9% is from our own pocket. We sacrifice our own money just to promote and showcase Liberia out there. I remember doing the 2018 China Trade Fair where the whole continent was there. We had Nigeria, Ghana, Africa sending their citizens to go showcase the country and pay the ticket. We from Liberia was from the business sector was just I
Yeah, but
think
Dominic,
6%.
Dominic,
We were 6%. We finance ourselves.
let me hold you there. Listen. At the end of the day, right? We need to make sure that the thing that expand, one of the things that expand our economy is for investors to come in. So we can attend all these conferences, and when you come in, and there are disincentives in doing business in our country, then we don't achieve the objective of going to all these conferences. For example, the little thing like registering a business. That is why you asked at the LB Liba and head of Patel and the business person, head of the business association. I mean, we should be aware of some of this because if we don't aware of this problem, how do we make recommendation for them to be, resolved?
So here's it.
If people are taking 2 weeks to register a business, then it's a disincentive to doing business. So
Here's a
what
caveat
would
to that.
be some of the reasons why it's taking long?
Here's a caveat to that, right?
Okay.
I don't think it's just investors coming in to do business. I think the investors are coming, foreign businesses are coming, it makes it easy for them because they're able to pay bribes and do it. But I think the focus here is how easy is it for Liberian-owned businesses or Liberian to register businesses in the country, or for them to be able, like he alluded to earlier, or he mentioned earlier, right?
Mhm.
If you get your stuff from China or Dubai or wherever you go overseas to get the stuff, you should be able to easily bring it to the port, clear it. There should be transparency in the clearing fees that so when you go in there, you know how much to allocate to when you get to the country to clear the stuff. I think that's the most important things. How I think you mentioned that earlier, whether Liberian are actually spectator to the economy or they're participating in the economy, right? So investors can come in, people can come in, they can bribe their way into things, but I think it should be all inclusive for all Liberians in the in doing business in Liberia. But I want you to speak to that on the question that he asked, Nimley.
So you ask like he read the statement, it came a time on this administration were taking 3 days to get business registered and get it moving. Of late, there's only complaints coming from the Commerce Ministry that the Commerce Minister is not signing certain documents, which of course we saw the meet with her early next week to ask a couple of questions what's going on. Then you wanting to know how much you're going to pay for a certain container that you import to Liberia. I will tell you, my brother, don't waste your time because you will anticipate probably spending $7,000 to clear a 40 feet container in only
Yeah,
for it to get in Liberia.
we'll come to the clearing.
Okay, he asked that
No,
question.
We'll
let him
just
land. Let him
yeah,
land.
we'll come to the clearing part. We're just talking about the trade logistics in the meantime. Once because we need to understand why registering a business it's taking longer than the actual objective. So as the head of these businesses, we need to understand those problems. So when we engage in and one of the reasons why one of the byproduct of that project doing business was removing, the establishment of the LR, the LBR, the Liberia Business Registry, moving it out of the Ministry of Commerce. And my own friend and brother, Samson D, is the head of that organization, right? So, to go back to Samson, for example, and say, oh, we're having these challenges, we're having this problem. This is why, people, for example, one of the common things we hear, I could tell you, one of the common things we hear from this side is that, when you go register your business, once you get out that extra hand, then they put your people on one side, you go back and forth. So
Right.
so what are some of the problems? You on the ground? I'm not on the ground.
Really, I didn't see that. Like somebody asking for a tip on the side before they can fast forward your work or to expedite it. I haven't seen that. I haven't encountered that. The no main problem they had it from me, but I haven't seen that. I'm not going to support the ministry name on that. But what I know, I think they are over capacitated, and then they don't have the right materials to print out and etc. Even the flyers that they use to print the business certificate on, you can see it's like a photocopy. It needs a security feature within it. Like
Yes.
we got even with my dealership license, my dealership certificate, which of course I pay $1,000 for US for. If you see it, it's like a photocopy sheet. And it need to.
So are you telling me the delay could be because they don't have printer to print?
Yes, that was one of his complaints, and I say seeing that because while coming out of the ministry, out of that bureau, I'm not seeing it to be obstinate. And I think the government need to give him money for him to buy those equipment that he requested when we had that forum. I think we have to fast forward his work because he complained on those stuff.
Can you imagine an entire country doesn't have money, or they don't have money to buy things, to a bigger printer to print the official document and have at least some watermarks on it that kind of authenticate it and make it a little bit official? Can you imagine that? That's
But
the 5 million.
I'm not cutting you up. We have banks that you go to bank, they will send you outside to go do photocopy. Oh yes, we have banks like that here in this country.
Okay, Mr. Paul Collins, welcome. We've been talking to Dominic here, and it's good that you're home. You got rid of your Lone Star problem. Are you moved to Celcom now? Celcom, how do you call it? You moved to
Orange.
You moved to Orange now? Orange. You're muted.
You're muted.
Your mic is mute. Yeah.
Yeah, the Lone Star is fluctuating. It's just one of those bad days for Lone Star in my area, I guess.
Okay.
But yes, I'm glad I've finally managed to get on the show.
Perfect.
We're talking about registering business. The challenges it appears as though the whole objective of registering a business in 2 or 3 days has slipped off to a longer period now. So that's what we're just asking Dominic about. And what are some of the why is that true? And if it's true, what are some of the challenges that businesses are facing to register?
Right. Now, when in fact my business was registered like in January, but it took me almost 3 months before I could get my business certificate, registration certificate. Okay, and that is not unique to me. It is very challenging now to get your business registration certificate from the Liberian Business Registry. Okay, I really don't know what their problem is. And it is as if they don't want anybody to get registered. But in the past, there used to be something that you could do very quickly, very easily. In fact, to even get your receipt, when you make all the payments and everything, you think you will get your receipt so that you can use the receipt in the meantime while you wait for the certificate.
Yeah.
But to get a receipt too is very difficult. Okay, you have to go back and forth before you can finally get a copy of the receipt. So
Why?
it is
Why?
very challenging now.
Do you
And
have
what do
any
you think that is
indication
so?
why?
What do you think that is so? What do you think
I
are
think
some
that
of the
receipt. Do
problems?
you have an indication why? So, I mean, Dominic was trying to allude to something, but we want to hear from you. You know, is there any indication why?
Now, they won't normally say. Usually, they will tell you we've got systems problem. I'm not sure what system they're using there, but that's the excuse you always get.
Right.
And there's this thing about somebody very senior who is supposed to sign on a receipt or something. So getting that person to sign on a receipt is also a challenge.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Like
there are
you
those
said.
two excuses you always hear. Oh, it's before the boss man or the boss lady, or we've got systems problems.
Okay.
So yes, it's very challenging getting your business registration done.
And
So it has to do
that's
with
actually that is some of my problems with
problem
government.
and
Right.
system problem. Okay. So let's
I have
flip.
a follow-up question.
Yeah, go
Alex, hold
ahead.
on. I have a follow-up question. Uh, Dominic, you at the beginning of the show you mentioned you guys had a meeting with Simenco and Firestone, and because I think you alluded that Simenco was actually doing wholesale retail as well when they're supposed to
No, no, your
leave the
granddaughter
wholesaling and retailing part to the Liberian people if you're just making the cement. Also, I think you said you guys met with Firestone as well. Firestone, we can probably do another whole session on it, right? But tell me about, if there were any agreement reached with those two internet companies as to what you guys want them to do. Was there an agreement that was reached to stop them from doing wholesale and retail? And was that agreement written? Was it something they agreed to? And what are the clauses you guys put in place to make them go by those agreement? If you guys reach an agreement at all.
Okay, so we shut down the country during 2016 because of the same reason why we are asking for our 100% retail right.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing wholesale, retail, and supplied, then
Hmm.
there is nothing being left for the indigenous.
Yeah.
So we told them it's a no-no, it's a no-go zone. You can't do wholesale, retail, and supplied at the same time. If you are a company that bring in commodity to sell,
Hmm.
stay in your warehouse or your factory and let Liberian be the one to do the retail and the
Retail.
supply. You can
Right.
do the wholesale. We don't have problem with that. So we told Simenco, you have a boundary that you need to stop. And luckily for us, they do agree because they have heard of us and they know we're not going to all time, wait for government. That's why we call citizen arrest as well. We have our rights. We're just going to surround Simenco. You're not going to do no business. We are going to surround Firestone, and you're not going to do no business. Firestone don't want most of the dirty deeds that they're doing to get out there. So
Hmm.
they was forced to listen to us right away.
Yeah.
Yes, it happened in a jiffy. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so that's it. One of the comments. There are some few comments here. I will come into that, but let's go into Dominic. What is the general atmosphere like about doing business in Liberia? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? What are some of the good things about doing business in Liberia right now, and what are some of the challenges that businesses are facing aside from business registration, just the everyday doing business, especially for small Liberian businesses?
Well, one good thing that I saw of late is that there's a new bank in Liberia called City Trust, and this bank have taken a risk to work with the petty trader to change the dynamic, the start of doing business to lift them up to another level. Which, of
Hmm.
course, other bank, when you go to them for a loan, they will ask you for property value that your great grandparent didn't have. That's a clear indication that they don't want to give it to you. This bank is located on single 20th Street. They gave the petty trader loans for 4%. That is the
Wow.
first of a kind in our country.
Yeah.
4%. It's called City Trust. It's a Nigerian bank.
Hmm.
It's called City Trust. So this is one. they have started from Douala. They come into Waterside. From Waterside, really, we start going up to the counties, and I keep spreading the news. One of the things that keep Liberian-owned businesses to be down is that our government don't prioritize us. They give foreign businesses more right than us.
Yep.
Where in the country that you will give foreign businesses 75% rent and give your own people 25% rent? It's a clear indication that anybody coming in the country to do business, Liberia are not trustworthy. In Ghana, the citizen have 50% rent, while the foreigner have 50%. If I enter Ghana today and say I want to sell, I have to partnership with a Ghanaian.
Right.
I remember 2016 when we shut down the economy for 3 days. The Justice Minister by then, may his soul rest in peace, or Francis Cheru, told us, he called us on the side. You know, most of them know what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
He called us on the side after we shut down the country, and they were behind us to lift up the spread. We told them no. He said, "My son, what you're saying is true. I went Ghana for a forum, and then I saw this Chinese restaurant. I went there to eat, and I didn't see no Chinese. So I called one of the waitresses and asked her, where are the Chinese? The Ghanaian waitress told him that they belong in the back. They belong in the back. All right? But in Liberia, you see the Chinese men behind the counter. You see the Lebanese men behind the counter. You see the Indian men behind the counter. You see them like the Chinese, the Chinese. And stuff like they bring into the country, my brother, you can tell that they are not durable. How can you buy light bulb or LED bulb and I make 3 days blow off? And there is Commerce Ministry is doing nothing concerning it. You buy a plasma or LCD TV and I make good 3 months for you, which of course that man or woman have kept the money for 6 or 7 months or 3 years to buy that TV. And the TV blow off within 3 months. You go back to the store, no warranty. No warranty. I was in a long time for me. I was in one of those Chinese stores. I went to buy a thing.
So Dominic, wait a minute. You know, this is about the Indian and Chinese. The question that I ask you is that Liberian small businesses, what are the challenges? What are some of the good things that are going on? How is Liberian businesses flourishing in their own country? Which will speak to the question of that Liberians are not spectators of their own economy. What is like doing business?
I will start with
land that thought, then you can pivot towards that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will start to what keep Liberian-owned businesses down.
Yeah.
Liberian-owned businesses is down because our purchasing powers have been given to foreign businesses.
Right.
On black and white, they say 75% be given to them, but I can tell you as a Liberian-owned business owner that 96% being given to them.
When you say purchasing power, what do you mean? Our purchasing power, what do you mean?
Contracts and etc. and rights.
Okay.
By right, a foreigner to win contract and go to a foreigner because I don't have the money, and he and I join, execute that contract, the profit, he carry a share to his country, my profit live in Liberia, and I can build Liberia. But it's on the opposite direction. Everything is being given to foreigner. It is government after government. We benefit out of 4%, while the foreigner benefit out of 96% of our economy.
Okay.
So right there, it put all in red. For example, if a Liberian man go to the bank for a bank loan, there's a cartel that has already been set by the banking institution to supplicate Liberian-owned business. The foreigner come to our country as an investor, but he going after our local bank loan. He going after our construction loans, and he receiving the fat part of it. I remember 2016, I have $83,797 in my account. I went to UBA Bank, requested for $250,000 loan. The first thing they did, they asked me for property value that my great-grandparent had. That same month, we got insider in the bank that hit what's going on. They don't like the idea how they treat Liberian-owned businesses. That same week, George Abijade went there and requested $1.5 million. He was given that money within less than 5 days. And the bank was brave to tell me that they can give me $13,000. So I asked them, I said, did you check my account balance before you tell me you can give me $13,000?
You think because you think because you want to stretch your hand, the money man stretch your hand?
But they never try us. If you try me, I will scratch my hand. I know you got to knock every door for you to get open.
But you got to your hand for
But we shouldn't encourage that. We shouldn't encourage that. I'm just trying to draw
Gabriel, Gabriel, I'm just trying to draw you into
No,
the
why he's saying Gabriel, he's right.
about
Because
reality, right?
most of government,
I'm
even
not, I'm
government
not
offices
encouraging that, but
increase
I'm saying,
because of that.
yeah, because I have
Okay.
an experience with that situation, which I can also share because I also was doing consulting business in Liberia and I won a loan. And from my personal experience, I'm not going to do that. But I sit there and I see the guy come in. He giving it,
And
and
this is
the guy
without
had a
without cutting you off,
well,
right?
the guy had a
Without cutting
percentage up front for the guy, and I'm not
without
going to do
cutting
that.
you off, without
So the
cutting you
delay,
off.
well, let me learn. The delay my loan, and what
Yep.
happened? They caused me to even get in default. They delay my loan for
Yep.
90 days,
Yes.
right?
You see, without
And they caused me to get in default, and I had to struggle after the project to pay the money.
this is a problem. This is a problem that I'm talking about. You are aware that Nimley is aware of it. Like he said, there are
That was not
many
during
other.
this government. Oh, that was past government.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There are many other Liberians within, like Dominic pointed out, that are within the gov banking system that are aware of this kind of practices. My man, this is the reason why we have the Central Bank of Liberia. That's kind of practices you don't need. You can continue that kind of practices. Your economy, your financial system will never go anywhere. This is the reason why Liberians don't trust their banks and they keep their money under the pillow. If you're having stuff like that, we should have a line where people can report these things to the central bank, and the regulatory body should be able to come in, should be able to come down and do investigation to investigate these people. And if they're found at fault, you shut them down. We should not be having this kind of thing. Like where you go knock somebody hand, like, hey, that come on. This is a country you're talking about over 4 million people. This is a country of 4 million people. Allow these people to do their job. As I said, I have my qualm with the whole central bank thing, but this is thing that they're supposed to be hammering down on, because it's not affecting people like Nimley or yourself or Paul it's affecting every Liberian in our country who is trying to do business. Even the foreigners that go there, they feel they don't want to do it, but they just have to do it because that is
Of course.
the environment we set for ourselves, that people have to give out bribes in order to get loan. It's not normal. I know they do it, but it's not normal. And the people who's supposed to be regulating these banks and financial institutions, they need to step up their game and do that. People like Nimla, if you find something like that, you should be able to pick. There's a phone line that should be connected directly to the central bank. Say, these are the kind of practices that are happening. You need to investigate this bank. And people will be calling and they will say, okay, this is not the first time. There's John calling, Paul is calling, Peter is calling. So this is something true that we need to investigate and do an investigation and bring these people and put stop to these kind of things. We should not be having these kind of practices in Liberia. But I rest my case. You guys carry on.
Paul, why is he, Paul?
Yes.
Why you were saying somebody was
I can comment on some of the challenges also.
Yeah, somebody was saying,
Okay,
why is your business registration is being processed for that long? Will you still be paying your taxes or your business taxes, or will your taxes still be collected? I mean, calculated?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. When it comes to the taxes, in fact, they want to even collect the taxes from you before you even register your business. Okay. The only thing is normally you need the TIN, the tax identification number, and when you first register your business, that's when you get your TIN, because that is supposed to be your first official business payment to the government. Now, in Liberia, you have to renew that registration every year. So for new businesses, okay, you might not be able to pay taxes until you get your first certificate. But for ongoing businesses, you will already have a TIN, and so you will be expected to continue paying your taxes to government. Okay. Now, on the challenges, with COVID, China closed down. Most of the businesses we have here are small to medium-sized businesses that trade in goods that they import from China. So it is a big challenge right now for the business community to bring in goods. Okay, imagine trying to speak to a Chinese, okay, all the way in China, in English, when you can't really see the goods. They're depending on photographs of the goods. And one of the problems is most of our businesses, they don't really bring in their own containers on their own. They have to join, they have to combine. Several traders get together, okay, and they combine their goods within a single container. So it is posing a lot of challenge for them, getting goods in from China. Okay, then there's also the problem with the quality of goods that they are able to get from China. You are sitting here in Liberia talking to somebody in China who just wants to get rid of their goods. Okay, you think you've got a particular quality coming when in fact they're giving you a very poor quality. You can't complain because you have to pay up front before the goods are shipped to you. Wow. So it's like buying pig in the bag right now. That's a big challenge for the businesses. And as long as China remains closed, okay, that challenge persists. What I've noticed lately is that a number of the Liberian businesses are moving to Turkey, for instance, to see whether they can buy their goods in Turkey and bring them to Liberia, because at least Turkey is open. Okay, so some of them are going to Turkey and to Dubai, but the problem is Turkey, Dubai, those places are more expensive. Okay, they tell us that the quality is better there, but the cost of procuring the goods over there is still very high. And our market is such that we like cheap goods. Okay, so that's another challenge they have. Dominic has already spoken about the funding part of it. Okay, a lot of the people now, a lot of the Liberian businesses now depend on their village savings club. Okay, and the village savings club is doing a very good job, making funding more easily accessible to them. And that's one reason they are also not saving with the commercial banks here, because when they collect their savings from their members, they immediately lend that money to their members okay, who pay them back with interest, but they don't keep the money. They just push the money around as they make these savings, these deposits in their savings club. They redistribute the savings to their membership so that there's constant liquidity amongst them. Okay, so that's helping to ease the access to funding challenges that they were having with the commercial banks. The commercial banks now, most of the banks have a new strategy of lending mainly to big business concerns, especially the ones that are backed by government or huge government contracts. Okay, they're not all that excited about lending money to the small businesses. City Trust has just come into the scene. It's trying to make its presence felt, and so they are kind of flexible in terms of how they lend to the business communities, and that's attracting a lot of people to them. Okay, another problem the business community seems to have is with the currency problem.
He gone. So while Paul is gone away, somebody has a question here, which I'd just like to pose until Paul can come back, continue and say, Dominic, are people businesses requesting to pay their taxes up to 2025? Is that true?
Sorry?
Businesses requesting to pay their taxes until 2025. There's a comment somebody wrote here. I was just trying to confirm that.
We pay tax every time. But I haven't heard about 2025. But we pay taxes every time.
It's like prepaying your taxes. Like, okay.
No. I haven't
I know about the presumptive tax and the 4%.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that. And no one has brought that complaint to my knowledge. But one of the worst situations we find ourselves in, if you're having to get a contract or you want to travel where they ask you for tax clearance, you go for your tax clearance, again, another huge bureaucracy again. While you are paying it, you have the receipts in the section.
Okay, so let's look at export and import. Let's start with export here. you said something about exporting products to China. So are Liberians involved in exportation right now?
Not as
Liberian
huge.
businesses.
We don't even have a certified laboratory in Liberia to check
Mhm.
our thing. Most of our stuff we export from here. We do it through Ghana. Can you imagine that? On the 24th century. We didn't even had a DNA machine. I think it was just of recent. They brought in because of the huge rate of rape and etc. They brought in. I think the president ordered I think 3 or 4 pieces.
Oh,
That's
the
how bad.
DNA. What I got to do with business too? I thought I there for us to go check.
Yeah, I mean, I just
I
gave
want
you an
to and
example, like how backward we've been for the last 12 years and decades beyond,
you
you
say
know?
when allow you then you go to DNA. I thought I wanted that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can do DNA. You can check DNA with business. They can use that machine to do.
No, I mean, we don't have a certified laboratory for foods because before you take food out of Liberia
Hmm.
to any country, especially the West, it have to be tested and certified. So
Yeah.
most of our food stuff we take out of here, we have to carry through Ghana to certify it for testing.
Okay.
And it come back, it's certified, we send it, they accept it before you load the container
Okay.
to go to that country. You see the kind of bureaucracy. And we pay
So
all these huge taxes.
so they and then I have a question, but let's go into the import business. Let's what are some like the value chain of import? Yeah, you order the goods that come, whether you're using IPD or you're using letter of credit, and when the goods finally come, and that is something that within my area of specialty with trade, trade-based money laundering, all that stuff, but that's not a topic. But the goods come to Liberia, the clearing of the goods, the tariff that you pay at the port, and before you transport it, and before you get it to your shop. Can you go through that and some of the good things and the bad things
Okay,
that
so for
import
Liberian owned businesses, for
mm-hmm.
Liberian owned businesses, for Liberian owned businesses,
Hey, Liberia, with your internet business.
every step of the way, we pay cash 100%. Before we get our goods that Mr. Cody said to you, you pay for picking the bag. Right now, people paying for picking the bag. As I speak to you right now, we have complaints from Liberian businesses that are sending money to China, that is sending their fake, not what they pay for. And we have sent a communication, we wrote a foreign affairs,
Mm-hmm.
and we are having get a redress, and we're going to write the Chinese embassy as well, probably this week or next week, because we have given foreign affairs time, and we're not seeing anything, any fruitful result from there. So, in getting goods in huge quantity, there is cartel all over in Liberia. The banks have a cartel that they don't give Liberians businesses letter of credit. So you will find out if Peter Brown go and take a bank loan with a high interest rate and a short payment term, that same thing Peter Brown bringing, the Indian man, the Chinese man, the Lebanese man bringing it, and they get it on a letter of credit, and they're going to sell cheaper than what Peter Brown bringing. So it put Peter Brown in a position that he's not going to make sales to pay back his bank loan. Right there, they use us as case study. They have behind all the millions of dollars they take from the bank, and they use people who don't know. They say like Brand don't pay debt. But those are some of the reasons that Labrador cannot pay the bank loans. Because if Labrador man bring in the slippers, the Lebanese man go to the bank, he's not going to pay cash. He just collect the letter of credit. He bring that same container of slipper. The
Sell
Chinese
it
man do the
before you
same thing.
pay.
The Chinese man, his brother then give it to him to cancel. The Indian man do the same thing. And they bring that slipper. When the Labrador man have paid 100% cash through and fro, when they find out that slipper, the Labrador man sending $50, they're going to sell it $30. Who will need the
And that,
$30 to go
and
buy the
you
same
see
slipper for
you
$50?
you see the
Right
problem
there, the
here.
Labrador man not going to make sure.
And do you guys see the problem here? This is what I keep homing, trying to home in on here. There is an underlying problem with our financial sector that is undermining Liberia, that is stigmatizing Liberia, that this stigma has. I think the last time you were on the show, that's one of the things I was talking about here. We have this stigma on Liberian businesses and Liberian that they don't pay back loan. But he has just laid out exactly the reason why most Liberian default on their loan. And if this is a problem with our banking sector, with our financial institution that he's actually labeled as a cartel, the central bank, or even if they don't want to do their job, the government need to investigate these kind of practices, banking lending practices, to put a stop to that, to make Liberia competitive in their own market, in their own economy. You cannot have this kind of thing going on and you talk about raising revenue to 700 million or even so. You cannot do that. These are the basic economics and the factors that we need to lay out. And this is something that has been going on for so much. If the central bank isn't regulating these banks to do, somebody in the government, you are the head of these organizations. You need to raise this kind of things to the legislator or within whoever within the government to do an investigation on these kind of practices, because we can complain about it for as long as we can. If nobody bring down the hammer to investigate these things, it will continue to impact Liberian businesses in our country, and we'll just continue to talk about these things without doing anything. Somebody needs to raise a red flag. Somebody needs to put their hand up and say something's fundamentally wrong with how banks, financial institution, and people treat Liberian in this economy. This is something we have to get to the bottom of, and that is my problem with this whole business things in Liberia.
Okay, so Dominic is going away, but I want to also take a break in 2 minutes. But if Dominic is listening, we wanted to take a break and then come back. When we come back, we'll look at factors impacting the prices of commodities on the market, considering this whole inflation thing, this whole exchange rate thing, and all that. And then, so let's take a break, and then also we'll consider the comments from our audience that are listening. There are a lot of comments that people are writing. We got to consider that. So, back room, please get ready to bring on some questions when we come back. So let's take a break.
Hold on. Who's supposed to take us to break?
Yeah, so whilst we're waiting for them to take us to break,
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
Again, welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is the marketplace where we talk everything business, finance, and economics. Today's discussion is doing business in Liberia and some of the factors impacting small businesses in Liberia. We had our guest today is Dominic Nimley and also Paul as well. I think both of them are having internet challenges in Liberia, so we don't have them on right now. But yeah, I'm sure if you haven't been with us, that's what we've been talking about. So again, if you just joining us, welcome. And this is Focus on Liberia, the marketplace. Let's get into the next part of the show, the discussion.
Yeah, we have some interesting comments here from the audience here. Some of them are really good. Again, we will fact, but the issue of Colin is back. Thank you, Colin, for coming back. You and Dominic, you're sharing this internet problem. Collins, can you hear us? Paul.
You're muted if you. There you go. Nimley is back. Dominic is
Okay.
back.
Paul,
Sorry, I
can you
ran out
hear
of
us?
credit. I have to recharge quickly.
Oh, sorry for running your credit down. Okay, so we were going to go to the comments, but in the meantime, whilst we go into the comment, so last 2 Saturdays we discussed about, and our brother Paul was also here, along with one of our guests. So we're talking about inflation, we're talking about the exchange rate, and we also talk about the prices of commodities on the market. Okay, so what is one of the things that we're looking at, it says the inflation is going down. That's okay. The exchange rate is going down. In fact, it's gone down over the last since we had the topic. It's Gabriel. It's gone down to 140, right?
Yeah, it's out currently it's at 140, and I think they can confirm it. But I think I spoke to somebody there today. The uh, the, uh, the rate is actually 140 now, and you guys can keep me honest if I'm wrong. But I think what I've heard is the the exchange rate is $1 US to 140 Liberian dollars. Uh, Dominic,
So
can any
Dominic,
of you
what we
guys?
know, what
Yeah, go ahead.
these the economists
Yeah, I can answer
know,
that.
yeah, what the
Can you
economists
confirm
know
the
that
rate,
is
the exchange rate?
what is the exchange rate now, Dominic?
Okay, the exchange rate is 140, but there is the problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
Government after government, central bank governor after governor haven't been able to sustain our foreign exchange rate. That is a big problem.
Okay.
yeah,
Our foreign exchange rate is being run by foreigners because our economy have been sold to foreigners. You found out most of these foreigners keep their money, the millions of dollars to their houses. If central bank governor comes out and say the foreign exchange rate, for example, is 65 today, the foreigners carry up to their own rate and nothing happened. It started from Manasadi region when I started my advocacy, and we called central bank governor to the light and told him we need to form a task force team that will compress of the Liberian business, NSA, central bank government officials, CRD, and what have you to go after these people and make sure you stop it. Because by right, before opening a bank in Liberia, in any country, you have to have a FF exchange window. And
yes, you do.
those FF exchange window in those very banking institutions in Liberia doesn't work for Liberian owned businesses. And if we take these people bank loan, which of course are called a death trap, you have to pay back, you have to buy goods, you have to run on the street to those people and
To go
take their
change rate.
rate by
Right.
force.
Yeah,
You take
yeah,
those rates by force.
yeah,
You don't take it as your own giving pleasure.
yeah,
It's like they're ripping you off, and it's broad they rip up, and
yeah.
nobody cares.
No, I
Governors
agree
after
with you.
governors, even the current central bank governor. Okay, as a stakeholder, as Dominic Nimley a stakeholder, before they print any on a bank note, they call me to the legislature. I have flagged this up to the legislature more than 15 times, more than 15 times, and nobody say anything. Senators, representatives, nobody, no one care about Liberian people. They only care about themselves.
It's a bigger problem. I
I
agree
was
with
called
you.
at the legislature just a few months ago concerning the new printing of the bank note, and I told them there was no sample of the bank printing note, the note that they bring in. And you have people who are 25, 35, 33 years old having used coins, and you say you're bringing coins. You aren't doing no publicity.
Right,
Nobody know have a sample of what you bring it on the market.
right,
Up to present,
right,
no one say a word
right.
from the senators to the representative. So in our business sector, we are calling, we're going to hold a peaceful protest or go slow. We want to sit in the upper house and in the lower house. We don't want to sit on like doing Malasadi regime, what is signed APN terminal into contract, refusing our national currency.
Yeah.
Because of APN terminal refusing to take Liberian dollars, other companies, the shipping lines and other companies, other business, foreign
They
businesses in
don't
our
take
country
my brand
refuse
dollars
our
anymore.
national currency. That is a
Yeah,
disrespect.
yeah, yeah. No,
That is an abomination. You don't see any part of the world.
I absolutely agree with you. And for me, I think I keep honing on this thing that it's not just incompetent at the highest level, but it seeps into even the legislators and can you imagine countries? Let me land on this before you, Alex, before you come in. Can you imagine a country is trying to print money and you have a banking finance committee that is not even trying to question the legality or the reason why the money needs to be printed. There is nobody's pushing back on this 4 billion being injected in the economy. There is nobody pushing back on these banks to say, hey, there are a lot of problems these people are raising in this country against against foreign owned companies, the way they treat Liberian businesses. Let's see if we can set up a task force to investigate it. And if the central bank isn't doing it, let's take it upon ourselves, form a committee to investigate it and invite these people, invite witnesses to make sure that we make this economy a level playing field for every Liberian. Not just foreigners should be running this economy. It's a national security threat. We're not looking at it that way. If you have all your money within the hands of foreigners, they can damage your economy if they want to because they have the power. They have the power, and I think they had a session few weeks ago, and that was one of the concerns that the central bank governor actually raised. That we're going. I mean, can you imagine him saying that we're going to these people to try to alleviate to mitigate the problem? I mean, that's the level to which we have the problem is. That's how big this problem has become, right? And I absolutely share your concern, Dominic. And this is something that I think we've said this all the time. We've said this. We've honed. It's like we're beating a dead horse already, but nobody is doing anything about it. But anyways, Alex, please.
Just before you come in, Mr. Eddie, just 1 minute. To the extent that I had a meeting with one of the foreign ambassadors, he called us, and this man looked out in the face and said, "You're going to have a lot of problem," and he said, "You will continue to have artificial shortage on your market because your economy is being run by foreigners.
Absolutely.
So they can hold your hostage at any time." I think you remember during the coronavirus pandemic, what happened? People, they hold the rice in the warehouse and in the stores and said there was no rice. Professor Tappe by then was the commerce minister. He had to go from store to store, from warehouse to warehouse to make these people put rice on the market. They ran it again. They would say there was no gas, there was no fuel. I told the legislature, we wrote them and told them, you put in every physical budget $15 to $20 million every year to improve the life of Liberian-owned businesses on a flexible payment term. We don't want to free or charge, so we can change the dynamic. I'm not cutting you short. Please, 1 more minute. Before rice price was reduced during Manasadi regime, it was $16 to $17. I reduced rice price. I and my colleagues. We asked to bring rice to the country. They refused to give us. So what we did, who's there? We asked to bring rice. They refused. So what we did, we told them that we will bring, I called a press conference and told them we're bringing our rice and we'll sell it wholesale for $12, and we don't want it to be sold for more than what? $13.50. That's very net. Manasedi had a press conference at what the hotel name? Better Casa on Tear Street. The next day they came out with a press conference reducing rice price to $13.50, like I said. So they know we have the power. They don't want us to play on the field. They want us to be spectators. So they shut us down from all over. They have those cartels from all over. And there is one partnership that don't come to Liberia, which is one of the ships that don't land to Liberia is partnership. Until we Liberian-owned businesses can partnership together,
it's a
we're
problem.
going to keep turning in one cycle. The Lebanese, you see Sadi Berra is owned by more than 50%. You see Sadi Berra is owned by more than 50%. You see most of these big companies here, they use one person to front for them. Until we Liberians can do that, we're not heading nowhere. And I have told people, I'm going to form my own cartel. Liberians coming together will pay from 5,000 to 15,000 to join that cartel, and in that cartel, we will make decisions in this country.
The Moravia
we will make
cartel, we'll call
decisions in
it.
this country. Oh yes, I have been around. I went to London. I lobbied around. I went all around and lobbied around, and people waiting to join like yesterday. They're waiting.
I'm not making light of this thing. I agree with you.
We're going to bring commodities and give the people to sell at a low cost.
Right.
Please go ahead.
Dominic, we get our own cartel, but our own cartel, we can always do the wrong thing cartel, not the right thing cartel. the wrong things cartel. That's what we got. So, but let me come back to the topic. Gabriel there and Sam Jackson there, all the economists there. They explain the thing over and over, and all I wanted for them to explain the thing, they ban away for plenty of people to understand it. Okay, so one of the reasons why we got you here.
1 second, I think he stepped away.
Yeah.
That was kind of a.
So basically, what
go ahead.
What do you wanted to draw him in? It's the issue of this economic imperative, where it says all these factors about inflation and exchange rate and the prices of goods. Economists will tell us that when inflation is going down and exchange rate is getting stronger, or the local currency is getting stronger, it's a good thing, right?
Right.
So therefore, prices will go down as well, right? But so Gabriel, Dominic.
Yes.
So what we're trying to say is that all these Gabriel there and Sam Jackson and all the BB economists, man, they explained to us that the inflation in Liberia is low, it's getting low. And the exchange rate too is getting low. That means the Liberian dollar is stronger than the US dollar.
Yep.
But in the economics, economists in a book, when inflation going down, when exchange rate getting better, when your currency getting better, then prices supposed to commensurate.
Right.
I shouldn't say prices to grab, but prices supposed to commensurate with that.
Right.
That means things are working well. But it looked like in Liberia, the inflation is getting better, the exchange, the Liberian dollar is getting stronger, but the prices stay, as we're hearing, the prices are stay high or they stay going up.
Yeah.
Dominic, what you got to say about this? Please explain something from a layman view about the prices.
I think he's frozen. Is he frozen? He's probably I hope he's not frozen. I know we spent probably, what is it? This is probably the third week on this inflation and how it is. Dominic, are you with us?
Dominic, did you hear me? Hello?
We can't hear you. Dominic, we can't hear you.
Talk.
But anyways, I know we've covered this topic probably the last two.
Y'all kind of.
As business persons, we worry about safety of our money to avoid it being stolen, making mistakes when counting money, making mistakes when giving people change, receiving tertiary money, false money, or counterfeit money. eWallet is not just for money transfer. It enables electronic commerce and online marketplace, electronic payments and money transfer. Bring your store, market, shop, school, or company to eWallet online marketplace. Customers all around the world can buy your products anywhere, anytime. Get free electronic cashier and point of sale on your phone. Know how much your sales agents or cashiers are selling daily, weekly, and monthly. So not be afraid because all your money on your phone is already at the bank. You can stay wherever you are and pay your taxes and subscription bills. eWallet also accepts Master or Visa card. Payment is easy and fast. Fast calculations, no cheating, no mistakes, and no tertiary money business. eWallet shows Liberian dollars and US dollars balance anytime you open it. No special code needed. It's user-friendly, like every other social media platform. eWallet is in partnership with GT Bank and powered by Tama Corporation.
Great. Welcome back. We were having a lot of technical difficulties today. I know it's it's expected for internet in Liberia.
So Jimin is saying that Jimin Eastman is saying that the Liberian dollar is getting stronger, and the reason being demand. In other words, more Liberian dollar is exchanging hands, an indication of market growth or inflation.
Can you say that again? Can you?
It's on the board. It's there. You say, Cuffy, just say the Liberian dollar is getting stronger. The reason being demand, in other words, more. Yeah, so you read it and take your economic hat up to it.
It's more LD exchanging hands, an indication of market growth or inflation. It was. I don't know if that is a. I think that was supposed to be a question or statement.
What I think Ismail is trying to say is because I was saying that the inflation is getting lower, the exchange rate is getting lower. That means the Liberian dollar.
1 second. Yep.
Is getting stronger, right? So that's what he's trying to say against the US dollars. All right. Yeah. I mean, which in economic terms is it's truth, right? So when exchange rate is dropping in in economic terms, that means the local currency, right, is getting stronger. Purchasing power of the local the local currency is higher, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
there has to be some correspondence with the prices of goods and services.
well, in reality, there's supposed to be a correlation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where low inflation, price is supposed to, decrease as well. But in the context of Liberia right now, we're having the opposite, right? We have supposedly low inflation, which I think the last time we talked about was last Saturday. The inflation rate is actually at 8% from 13% to 8%, right? However, there is still high prices in Liberia, you know, and one of the things that we talked about here, without trying to stay too much on this, is that the way inflation is calculated in Liberia, right? In inflation, calculating inflation is just a basket of goods. The most important things that Liberian purchase, right? You say, hey, this is a basket of good of the most important things that Liberian purchase, right? And you calculate it either from a year before, 3 months, what I mean quarterly, or a year. And if the price increase, then you're having inflation. But I think in the case of Liberia right now, what we're having is that, one, the way we calculate it heavily weighted in the uh, the Liberian dollars when it should be weighted in the US dollars, which I think some part of the reason that Dominic alluded to was that most businesses do business in US dollars, right? So if you're going to calculate inflation, it should be in US dollars, which I don't agree with, but because that's how our economy is set up, that's how it's supposed to be. But most of it in is being done in Liberian dollar. So that's what created disparity between the low inflation rate, but your prices is still high. The second thing that I want to give to that is that either that, or we haven't we haven't done a survey of the basket of goods in Liberia lately, right? To really know the current if the prices have changed within that basket of goods, or how what's called CPI, of how we calculate inflation. That could be one reason. The other reason, which I think I'm 80% or 70% sure of, is this what we call cost push inflation, right? It is impacting everybody within this global economy. Great thing Dominic alluded to. I wanted to push back, on that, but I not push back on it, but I wanted to help him expand on it a little bit, but we didn't have the time to do that. He talks about the cost of importing things from China, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the Liberians can go to China, take their money and buy goods, but when they get to the the port, it become more expensive for them to clear that. At the end of the day, they end up passing the cost on to Liberian people. Well, in reality, we have a global pandemic that had disrupted supply chain right now, which
Mm-hmm.
I think he mentioned some of that earlier, right? We're no exception. We are no exception. If it's costing me $20,000 to clear a 44 container, right? I will make sure I make at least 40 or 50,000 dollars in addition to that, or some add a profit. That profit has to be added on the cost it will take me to clear it on that, right? And for the the average Liberian consumer at the end, who are pretty much the end consumer on these on this global chaos, is that they have less purchasing power right now because of the inflation, right? They have less purchasing power, and those are the three main reasons that I think we have the disparity in Liberia, where there is no correlation between low inflation and low prices, but instead we have high prices and low inflation, which we don't have a good correlation to say this is actually being driven by growth or some kind of expansion within the Liberian
Okay, so
economy.
we'll use the next few minutes to bring some comments on board. So to what you're saying, please bring the comment of Amos Songo. Okay, somebody said the prices in Liberia are rising because of the corruption. Oh God, the corruption. Merchants are paying bribes and adding the cost to the consumer to ensure they make their profit.
Yeah, which I just talked about, right?
As
I won't
simple as
say
that.
bribe, but there's high cost of doing business. Right?
Yeah, there's high cost of doing business. The cost
Right.
of doing business in Liberia has increased, and
Yeah.
it's a I know this for a matter of fact. It's a disincentive to some of the businesses, and some of the businesses have moved, relocated their doing their business in Liberia. They rather go to a neighboring country to do their goods and ship it and export it to Liberia, than doing business. And there's so many factors involved, because of electricity, the goods, bringing the goods in the country, all the different factors that go along with it. That's some of the things I want to forgive to talk. So bring that comment on. You say, look, gentlemen, there is not lower inflation in Liberia. The reality is that there's stagflation. All right, to say the least. When prices go up uncontrollable and stay at a high or constant rate for
Months or year.
As a case in Liberia. So, Gabriel, what is that stagflation thing?
What he mean? There's no growth. There's no like we're stagnated. We're stagnated. There's no
I know
right.
stagnation. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, the passage of infrastructure bill. Oh man, he's bringing us back to the U.S. here. Will the passage of infrastructure bill in the U.S. Congress impact the strength of the U.S.? Actually, no. Jack's Emmanuel, to answer that question, no. I think it's going to do the contrary to that, because with that, I think it's 500 billion, right? That is about to be injected in the economy, and that is going to, cause we're already in an inflationary environment in this country, so it's going to make that actually even worse. So I think, if anything, the Liberian dollar will continue strengthening against the U.S. dollars, at least for the next few months or so.
Francis Tulese is interested in joining the business group, but he would like to know
more.
You can contact. Okay.
I think he wanted to. He's alluding to what Dominic said about creating the cartel that he alluded to. Maybe that's
the good
right.
The good cartel.
Right.
Cartel.
Right. We'll get you. Hopefully, we can get him in touch, in contact with Dominic to do that.
Yeah. The intention of Liberian government is in establishing businesses in Liberia at the hurdles and barrier to entry, creating a successful business enterprise. Yeah, Emmanuel. Yeah, one of when I took part in the IFC funded program, it was all about improving the business climate, doing the best. That led to the establishment of the Better Business Bureau, right? Where all these different things would be addressed. So it was a forum where, and it led to a lot of solution, right? For example, trade logistic things were reduced, clearing goods were reduced, and they could poke into the tariffs, all that kind of stuff, and access to financing. So, and then trade incentives. So people were giving different incentives. And one of the questions I have for Dominic, which we didn't get to, was that this whole aspect about certain types of businesses reserved for Liberians. And this thing happened everywhere. It's not just Liberia. Look, it happened everywhere. I was in Ghana, and the same thing happened there. Foreigners will not do certain things. And even those things that foreigners will do, Ghanaian must be involved. For example, you open an establishment, Ghanaian must be the MD those days, right? So that you bring the citizens into doing business. These are different incentives that the government, or instrument that government used to bring. But as simple as catering business is only reserved for Liberia, for example. I'm just giving an example. So no foreigner should do it. Whether you should not do that business. Only Liberian should do that business. Selling cold water, it should be for Liberian. It should be for Liberian. No foreigner should be inside. It's as simple as that. So they has I think it was 26 businesses that were just reserved for Liberians. Right.
Here's my problem that I have with that, though. I don't have a problem, but this is what I think that needs to happen. It's okay to reserve those business and sectors or industries for Liberian to do, right?
Yeah.
But also, what I also they need to be intentional about. The government needs to be intentional about. You cannot just reserve those sectors or industries or businesses for specifically Liberians without giving the Liberian people access to capital to be able to start businesses in there. In reality, you're just giving them these sectors and businesses that's actually reserved for them, but in they don't have the money to be able to start businesses. Let's say if a Liberian want to uh, do retail in cement, right? Yes, even if hypothetically that was actually an industry or sector reserved for them, right? But if we have this stigma that Liberian people don't pay money, even if they're trying to go to the bank to get money, they won't be able to do that. So in reality, yes, we do have those sectors and industries and businesses reserved for them to do for only Liberians.
That's why you improve the access to financing.
Right. And we
well.
also have to create access to finance, access to capital, access to market that they will be able to engage in those businesses and create the sector in which they're supposed to create. So that's my contention with that.
Please bring Agatha's question back. The input fees. What there be a call session today? Yeah, do we have a number that Amos wants to call? But bring Agatha's question back about the input fee, 627.43. Yeah, input fee 627.43 plus GST fee of what 690 plus equestrian levy fee of 31. The sum came to this applied 4%. Total came to this, which
1,406
and said 1,600, which raised concern on my car.
Again, that's the level of corruption we talk about. So just how he calculated that, if that is the actual cost, he should be able to go to wherever place to go and pay that price. They should not be telling him that it's $1,600, unless there was delay in him picking up the car and then they add an additional levy on to that storage fees. All right.
Do business get benefit for the taxes paid to government? So Jake, typically it's something that we're just talking about the whole benefit of doing business, the incentives, the trade incentives such as tax holiday and input duties on this, no input duties on this, the access to financing, and the different incentives that are given in the provision of electricity, provision of different basic things that make the business, the climate and things like that. So those are the benefit some of the benefit that people get from doing a business. What's Patel? Patel is a patriotic entrepreneur of Liberia.
I know the E stands for
what Patel is doing.
Right. I think that they represent small businesses to supposedly the government, and they advocate for small businesses. I know for the last few years they've been very effective. During this administration, I haven't heard a lot about them, but according to what Dominic said, they're doing a lot of work behind door that way he just talked about on here. But that's how that's what they do. Yeah. I'm here wondering and very angry that we are still talking about correcting bad business practices in Liberia, such a small country with so many educated Liberian leaders, and now before who can and would have handled the situation. I think we're all on the same boat here. Yeah,
I will answer that question, and then we will close on that.
I think it's a statement you can add to. Yeah,
I will try to look at. There is a comment by somebody here which addressed what the comment he's making. Until it boils down into leadership, right? And it's good that Jude put about the lawmakers. Because when we say leadership, it goes with leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not just the president, right? But leadership. If we have good governance, but because leadership breeds good governance. Good leadership breeds good governance. Acute leadership breeds good governance. And good governance go after what? Ensuring that corruption is minimized. The rule of law is implemented to its latter.
Right.
Impunity is discouraged. Unfortunately, over the years, not just now, over the years, what we've grappled with is leadership, which transcend into the kind of governance that we have. And then the issue that we are unable to fight corruption heads on. What do I say? When we have something they call, something I teach, we call the corruption triangle, right? If you have the tune at the top, if I'm the head of an institution and I'm not sending good message through my action, through my strategy, through my days, through what I do,
behavior,
I got to send and say what top down vision, bottom up management, right? If you don't send that message down, if you send the wrong message down, that is why. If you come today, for example, if a strong leader come today and say, one of my first things is to ensure that I fight corruption, I move impunity from this country by ensuring that, and that person, he or she does it to the latter, people will be afraid to do certain things. Corruption will start going down. And that is the problem we have in Liberia. That is why every time we do the good things, we are educated. We do the good things. But unfortunately, like somebody made a comment, I'll refer to the comment, say we have people like Dominic, good people like Dominic, but we keep voting for Bobo lawmakers. And Bobo lawmaker, that person is speaking in context that we keep, and it's just
they're just a lame duck, a figurehead. They just sit there, they don't do anything, right?
Yeah, who follow the crowd and whoever there. So we have a situation where, and then if that leadership is, that message is not rained from the top, is not honed down, and certain things are not fully implemented, and people are not held accountable, and positive action is taken, whether that your brother or that your sister or that your cousin or that your mom, when those actions are not taken, and people just leave because, oh, that's the order of the day. That's in a triangle. It's called what we call rationalization. So Gabriel myself would say, well, who cares? John did it, nothing happened to him. Peter did it, but the boss man doing the same thing, the leader doing the same thing. So it becomes an order of the day. That is why we keep coming back and forth. So
yeah,
let's wrap up.
I think for me, I think, sometimes every time the last time we had Dominic on here, that was one of the things we talked about. And it's not just with Dominic being on here. I think for the kind of country that we are, the kind of history that we've had, the kind of country that we want, in order to build our country, we have to set a model that not just businesses can follow, but the model that every Liberian can follow. When I mean that, like, we want to build a country that is competitive in the 21st century. We want to build a country, an economy that works for all Liberians. We, as the president rightly points, gave in his inauguration statement, that he want a country that Liberian can participate in, right, instead of being spectators. That's the kind of country every Liberian wants. But in reality, that's not what we have, and this whole thing of Liberian, being stigmatized about, not being able to pay back debt. They're being marginalized for business loans. So that in reality, they're just sidelined their own economy. While every Liberian you talk to, they complain about foreigners running the country. Access to capital, access to market is, if we want to build a country that is where a competitive, where Liberian, the government can collect tax revenue and grow the tax revenue base, you have to prioritize businesses. You have to prioritize small businesses. You have to prioritize access to capital, because those people starting businesses, that's how they will pay business taxes, income taxes, real estate taxes, GSA taxes, and with that tax base, you can grow your economy and grow your revenue. But in reality, in this country, in Liberia, we're having the complete opposite of that. As somebody who works in banking, I manage a $200 million portfolio, right? Businesses upon businesses in that portfolio. Sometimes a business will come to you to say, I want $3 million, right? You look at it, you because they're expanding, either they're expanding or they're acquiring another business, right? We know the impact that has on the economy. What it is not just the economy at large, the state that they're in, and or even the city that they're in, the region that they're in. And if we don't learn to do that in Liberia, where we have a banking sector, a financial sector that is well oiled to fund the business need of the businesses and small businesses in Liberia, we will continue to lag behind our competitors in the region, let alone on a global market, right? We will continue to be behind in this thing. So I absolutely agree with Dominic that even if the central bank is not doing its job, there should be organization like his organizations holding their feet to the fire to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. If they're not doing that, there should be people that should go in the legislature and make sure that they raise their hand and complain about these things, because Liberians have to be able to do business in Liberia. They have to have access to capital, and they should be able to run businesses and compete in their own economy to be able to live decent lives in our country. For me, that has been my biggest take with this entire administration and even the administration before. We lack those things, and that is part of the biggest reason why we're in this place that we are. Thank you.
And I like to close on what Musu wrote here. She said, I was Musu Wangolo's steward, so I was assuming that's a lady. She said, at times when people get frustrated with the lack of governance, they decide to join the bandwagon, which is not the right direction. And again, that is what, because people think about survival, people think about different things.
Yeah.
What we've created, unfortunately, in our country is that we've created a dependency.
Yeah.
We've created a society where you don't have no back up into the country. For example, you don't have, whether you have a government job or you have a private sector job, or whether you have a government job, you can run to the private sector. If you don't have a private sector job, you can do some small business, or you can do some consulting, or you can go teach and make some money. So we don't have this kind of society going on in our body. So everybody is dependent. So as a result, and she's right. So as a result, you get frustrated if you don't have an option of going somewhere else, or you don't have an option of doing something else, then you fall in.
Mm-hmm.
So the more the people fall in, the more this thing continue, the more there are less voices to talk.
Yeah.
The more there are less action. And we have a society it's just gonna go like that.
Right.
And so those who can go somewhere else, and they talk.
Mm-hmm.
And those who are in, so it makes it difficult year over year, and we've created a country where either we're there joining it or we're running away.
Mm-hmm.
And we go, we run, we go, we run. So again, at a certain time you get frustrated, you say, what, I gotta feed my family. I
buckle to the pressure,
or shut up, or don't do nothing at all. So that is it. And so that takes me to what we are trying to do is that we're trying to just be objective, bring out the issues at Focus on Liberia. We discuss all things Liberia. We're here to educate, inform, and elevate, if I get that right. And here on Focus on Liberia Marketplace, we discuss all things business, economic, and finance. And we are not here to criticize or attack. We're just here to discuss the topic and bring on people that will bring certain things to a lot. So hopefully somebody will listen, and then these voices will be heard, so that our country, our society can become a better place. That's all we're here. We're here to add our 2 cents of our calling names, or so that's it. Thank you.
Let me thank our guests. Dominic, I know you guys weren't able to stay with us for the rest of the show. Paul, we want to say thank you for taking your time to join us. I know it's very late over there in Liberia, almost 8 o'clock over there right now. But regardless, thank you from out of your Saturday to join us. Paul, Dominic, and as always, we as Alex said, we're always objective to talk about what we want to talk about. We're not trying to take up blows with anybody here or any administration or anybody. We just talk the thing objectively, finance, business, and economics. But thank you guys for joining us. We will be here next week, same time, same place, not same topic. We'll have a different topic next week. But again, it was a pleasure being with you.
And
Right.
thanks to our guests, the people, not just the guests, but our
Right.
people who listening to the show, our audience out there, those who are commenting.
Right.
I've been reading the comments and they've been shaping some of the discussion as well. So
Yep.
thank you very much, and continue
Yep.
to tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Central Time and 7 p.m. Liberian time.
Yeah.
Peace.
So thank you. As we always say, regardless of what side of the political spectrum you are, whether you are CPPs, ANC, or whatever you are, no opposition or position, regardless of that fact, we're all Liberians, and we'd like to close on that note. Thank you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Our father,